Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody, and today I'm back in Air Hauler 2. We're in my Hawaiian-based company here, Magnum K.I.w.i Airlines, and what I thought I'd do is just run through and maybe look at some of the management that's going on in the background here with this airline, showing how I'm maximising the profit, and we're going to expand the airline somewhat. Remember, everybody, go ahead, smash that like button down below. The YouTube algorithm absolutely loves it. Also, if you're new, how about consider subscribing? It costs nothing at all except just a little bit of self-respect. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into our company finance tab right here, and I'll talk through a few things that are going on in the airline right now. Now, a reminder that if you are new to Air Hauler 2, I did a full series on Air Hauler 2. Now, I did it for the X-Plane 11 version, but it's pretty much identical. So I'll throw the first tutorial down in the description, and there's about, I think there's 11 or 12 videos that you can run through, and it covers all aspects that you need to know with Air Hauler 2. So anyway, here goes our company right here. And to be honest, I haven't done a heck of a lot of flying in the new year at all, and that's due to a real life injury, and it's a bit of a shocker. During my next live stream, I'll talk you through it. Put it this way, I thought I was 20 years younger at the New Year's Eve party, and it didn't end well. Anyway, moving on with that. Here we go here. We started off with 500k in the bank, remember? And we had the Cessna 208. And during the early part, the first week, we just, if you can look at this line here, this is our dollars line. We did a few cargo jobs and sort of just slowly built up some income in the background right there. Had to repair the aircraft, do a few things. From the 26th onwards, that's where I implemented my scheduled passenger routes, hired a pilot, and had an AI pilot day in, day out, flying some routes around Hawaii to build some passenger income. And so from there, as you can see, we were on 550, and within the space of about 10 or 11 days, we've put $150,000 into our bank account. And that's why scheduled passenger routes are so critical for building your airline. It's that good income in the background that just ticks over without too much effort. Once you set them up, they are absolutely brilliant. So if we take a look, we've got a monthly overhead of $27,969, and that's made up of our base cost of 10 grand, aircraft insurance costs. Always insure your aircraft, by the way. It's expensive to replace an aircraft. And then the pilot cost. So my pilot costs me a salary of $6,800 per month. You total that all up, and yeah, $27,000 is what it is. And so my scheduled passenger routes, which have earned me about $150,000 over 10 days, absolutely easily cover my monthly overhead, and that's the key. They cover your overhead and put a nice little profit into your bank. So let's take a look at some more of the detail around that. If we go into our finance ledger right here, as you can see here, this is a flight-by-flight breakdown of the income and expenses that are happening within my bank account at the moment. And you can see for each of these legs, and these are exactly the same flight each time, except one's from PHDH to PHKO, and then the return flight. And so doing those day in, day out, twice a day. And as you can see, we've got various numbers coming in from an income point of view, and that's really because of the number of passengers that we have on our routes, and we need to do a little bit of tweaking there just to maximize those. So some flights are more popular than others. But nonetheless, even with these, when I get into the next tab, one of the tabs down the road there, you'll be able to see that we're not filling our flights up at all. It's sort of 50 to 60% capacity, but it's only costing us $270 odd, or well, about $280 of cost for each flight, and we're taking in about $2,000 or more, $2,700 or more. So we're making $2,000 plus pure profit on every flight. So there goes just a breakdown of all the individual flights, and this is a good way to quickly jump in and see on a detailed level what's happening. Anthony Rice, my pilot, he's been promoted in the process. I'll show you that in a minute. So we go to company info. One of the big things that are really going to help, the scheduled passenger routes are really going to help, is your passenger reputation. So remember, you've got three types of reputation. You've got your cargo rep. Now, you fly cargo jobs. As you can see, it's less than 50 because I flew some of those, and I had an absolute Barry Crocker on some of those, and yeah, let's not talk about that. The passenger reputation, though, these flights that have been flown day in, day out, and because the pilot's a good quality pilot, he's been building that up quite nicely. So I've gone up about 17 points in the space of about 10 or so days. Our mission reputation, we haven't done any of those, but overall, our average reputation is now 55, and the better reputation you have, the more you can do within the program. So the grey line is our passenger rep. You can see that's absolutely exploding. And then our blue average reputation is just climbing quite nicely too. I do need to do a bit of work in that cargo space, and we'll be doing that on stream in the next few days, so watch out for that. So if we take a look at the passenger routes themselves, here they go right here. And just to remind you, I've got 4 flights per day happening at the moment. I've got good old Anthony Rice, my pilot, right here. And like I said, it's just PHDH to PHKO and return each day. He can fly 8 hours a day, and that's what he's doing. Now, I could actually hire 2 more pilots and have these flights going 24 hours a day, and I'd probably make a lot more money. But I won't do that in the meantime. You've got to think about the aircraft condition and stuff like that also. But what you want to do on this page is, if you're new to On Air, you set up your scheduled passenger routes, and I did a tutorial just recently on that, so check out my video on that. It's also as part of the tutorial series. But once you let them go for a week or 2, then you want to come back in here and just evaluate each of these flights. Down the bottom here is the key piece of information, and hopefully you can see it there. But if we look at this top flight here, this flight that flies on a Monday morning, the average capacity is it's 9 seats, and it's averaging 4 passengers for each flight. Now, it's only done 1 flight, so it's only got an average income of $1,849. Now, that's actually completely fine. That's going to be more than enough. I mean, I could just let that run, and it will just tick over day in, day out, no problem. But what you probably want to do is open up the sector details right here. Can we make this a bit bigger? We can indeed. It didn't actually change anything except the size of the box, funnily enough. So what this tells me here is estimated travellers per day on the route. There's plenty of travellers that do want to travel. This time specifically might not be the greatest time. It leaves at 0800. That's Zulu actually, so you just got to take that into account too. So that's actually an 8 p.m. flight, I believe, there or thereabouts. But one thing this is probably telling me is that I'm slightly too expensive for this flight here. Because I could actually be making twice as much as what I'm making at the moment. What I'd say, average income is $1,800. This is $3,600. So what that tells me is I'm probably a little bit more too expensive. So I'll whack it down to a notch. So I started at what, 402. We'll take it down to, let's not take it too much. Let's say 350. Because the thing you've got to take into account is if you knock it down by $100 per passenger, you're going to need to get an extra passenger on every flight just to be at the same position, because you're not getting as much income per passenger, if that makes sense. So really what I want to do is find that perfect price point where I fill up the flight, either 8 or 9 passengers in this case, every flight if I can, and still make sure this N number right here, this 100% utilization is going to make me plenty of money. Now, I suspect that I'm probably going to need to be a lot cheaper than this. But for example, I could make it $50 per flight, but even fully loaded, I'm not going to make any profit. So it's that balance of getting the right ticket amount to give you the most income. And that might actually mean that you fly flights a lot that don't have that aren't fully loaded with passengers, and that's just the way it is. So you just got to find the sweet spot there. So I'll knock it down by $50 per flight. Actually, I'm going to knock it down by $100 per seat. If I did that, at the moment I'm getting 4, so $400 I'm losing by doing that. If I get the same amount of passengers, I'm going to be losing $400. But hopefully, if I get an extra 2 passengers, it means I'm going to overall make $2,772. It's going to be a better result for me. So I'll go ahead and update that sector. So what you want to do then is just go through all your different sectors and then just fine tune them based on how they're performing. As you can see, some sectors are performing better than others. As they fly more flights, this graph will start to show you. This one, see, it started off at 4 passengers. The next flight had 5. So I might do a little bit of tweaking there. 5 out of 9 down below. Let's find one that perhaps is different. Most of them are 5 out of 9. Here we go. Here goes one that's 6 out of 9. So this is a very popular flight. Average income $2,600. So I could probably, I just want to get those extra 3 passengers in if I can, but I don't want to reduce the cost too much, or else I just end up breaking even. So, what's the point of that? So you go ahead and you want to tweak your passenger routes right there. But I mean, I tell you what, even the way they're set up right now, I'm still getting a lot of income. I think there is plenty more income to be had just by tweaking them a bit though. So there we go. So passengers, scheduled passenger routes, get into them. It's working well for me in the background, just need to optimize them. Let's get into operations right here. So here goes Anthony Rice. So he's a junior first officer. He has been promoted because of the amount of flying that he's been doing. Now, I am working him 7 days a week, and he doesn't mind at all. He wants to get his hours up. He does not care whatsoever. However, you could set it up so it was more realistic, and he has, say, 2 days off after 5 days on, or whatever way you wanted to do it. But if I take a look here, he's about halfway through his rank as a junior officer. He's got no skill assignments to add in at the moment. We've spent all those points, but as he does skill up, he will get some extra points, and that's going to help him be a lot more efficient and profitable. But if we go along, here goes his passenger sectors right here, so you can see all the different flights that he's currently scheduled to, or that he has completed. And that doesn't matter right there. So he's actually rated in a ton of different aircraft right here. He's been a very good purchase, and it's well, he's not a purchase, a good hire, I should say. But at $6,900 from a salary point of view, no problem at all. He's well worth the investment there. So we can look to hire some more pilots and get some more aircraft, but we'll look at doing that at a later time. I really need to get in the seat myself and start building my cargo rep. That really is the big focus right there. Let's get into the fleet right here. We've only got one aircraft, and that's what came with the company. We started off, I think it was on medium level or easy level or something like that. I think it was medium. And so we've got the Cessna 208 Caravan and 500k in the bank. And as you can see, we can build that income pretty quickly without too much effort. What I do want to do, though, is upgrade my fleet. Let's go ahead and buy a new aircraft. And I need one that I want to fly individually myself. This isn't assigned to an AI pilot at this stage. And so what I need to do is there's two ways I can buy an aircraft. I can go into the second-hand aircraft market, or I can buy or lease an aircraft from the new market. Now, the second-hand air market, the first thing I'd probably do is, well, for a start, I had an aircraft in the back of my mind, and that's the Beechcraft 350, the King Air. Beechcraft King Air 350, that's the one. Let me sort that by alphabetical. That's the aircraft that I want to get. It's got good cargo and passenger capacity, a really good money earner at this point. So if we go in here, you can see there's two available on the used market. One of these is at 64% from a condition point of view. It's going to take a few dollars to actually get that repaired and stuff, so that could be an issue. The other issue is where it's located. HTML, it's in the middle of Africa somewhere. I'm not too sure exactly where that is. So that's where that one's located. So if I wanted to buy that aircraft, I'm going to have to get it shipped right across the both oceans over here to Hawaii. So that's going to take a little while. The other option is this one here, which is in 5i6, which is in, I assume that is, does it give us a little marker here? I can't see it. You can probably see it, and you're going pointing at the screen going, Mace, it's right there. Anyway, that's in the mainland of the US by the looks of it, so it'll be a lot easier to transport. It'll probably take a day or two. But the price here is, if I wanted to buy the Beechcraft, is $2 million basically to buy it second hand. So the next thing I do then is take a look at the new market. If I wanted to buy it outright, a brand new one, I'd need $2.7 million. So I could ship it, have to wait for the period of time, and then and have to pay an extra $700,000. But I would have to repair it a little bit. It's still fine at the moment, but it will need repairs soon. So that's going to take a little bit of extra dollars. Or the other option, which I'm actually going to do, is I'm going to lease this aircraft. It's $347,000 to lease this thing, and I'm pretty sure that's monthly lease from memory. And which I'm not earning at the moment, although through my passenger flights, my scheduled passenger flights, I think I'll make that amount easy enough, so I can pretty much afford to lease it and just let it sit in my hangar if I wanted to. Why would I? But that would be an option. But I haven't got 2.7 million, so I can't buy it outright. So leasing is really the option. And it means I can just get it straight away. So I can go ahead, go like this. Select the aircraft, which I have. Go lease the aircraft. I got to do an initial. Oh, here we go. Sorry. So the initial deposit is $347, and the monthly rental is $154,000. So that I can definitely afford this. The good news is, if I decide to stop the lease, I'll get the $347 back. But if I decide to buy this aircraft, which is really the the objective, then all the money that I've paid towards it will go towards the end, will come off the end price, so I get a bit of a discount. So that's what I'm going to look to do. I'm going to look to rent to own, basically. So we'll go ahead and we'll say yes. And you always go passenger configuration. The reason for that is it means then that you can either fly passengers or cargo. It does reduce the cargo size a little bit, but it just gives you a lot more flexibility. So we'll go ahead and go passenger. The only time you do cargo is if you definitely knew you'd only use it for cargo. So we'll go passenger, yes, into Dillingham, which is where I am located. You selected, lease completed successfully, you little ripper. We have only got one class, economy only, 11 seats. That's what we want to do. That's the configuration. I will need to do a type rating, but I'm not going to do that on this particular video. And there we go. Done and dusted. We come in here. Our Beechcraft is now located at PHDH Dillingham, 100%. It's being leased. We need to get in there, start earning some money, and look to buy it as soon as possible, and that way we don't have those monthly costs coming out. Now, one thing I do want to do is take insurance. Yes, always remember to take insurance, because as you can see there, it's 23 grand a month, but it is totally worth it. But anyway, I have rabbited on way too much. I see it's like 16 minutes. I've got to stop talking sometimes. Anyway, that's what's happening in Magnum K.I.w.i Airlines. It's a lot of fun air hauler too, and the management side of it is the bit I really enjoy in the background. And you can actually just run your company without having to physically fly in Flight Simulator if you don't want to. I like flying, so I'm going to get into it myself. But that's the depth that you get with this particular app. So hopefully you enjoyed this. We'll look to get on stream and build some hours up and build some income in the background there. So join me next time, and you can fly along with me. We had, I think, 30 odd people. Or maybe might even been 40 people at one stage flying in our last group flight. So everyone is welcome. It's usually on the North Europe server, but I let you know on the day. But anyway, if you're new, how about consider subscribing? You know how to do it. Press the like button down below. And until next time, everybody, take it easy.